How you doing, Metro? My name is Will, and this is Ben, and welcome back to another episode of Numbers and Beyond, where you get all of our opinions and thoughts. Let's get into the locals.
All right, so obviously we like to talk about the University of Louisville. It's the local talking topic all the time, but we're going to talk about...
Very somber today.
Yeah.
Very somber today for
We're
locals.
going to talk about their College World Series playoff run, and they did good. I mean, hey, they worked hard. They got there. They went up against Coastal Carolina. Unfortunately, after they got there, they lost. It was a heartbreaker for sure.
Yeah, I kind of called it though. Once they barely made it past the previous opponent. It was a walk-off in the last inning. So really, they got to where they were supposed to be. Talent-wise, they were,
Well, they had a really good year. They had a good year. They did.
Yeah, they did.
Had a good year.
We can give them that.
They lost to Oregon State, right, in the first round of it. Then they made it up in the elimination round against Arizona. Phenomenal game. The pitching was something to see. And then the issue that they had was their consistency with their batting, but they always seemed to find a way to make the comeback. I kind of look at them as the comeback team in the College World Series this year. They were just phenomenal. They turned around and beat Oregon State and got the revenge. Unfortunately, Coastal Carolina gave them that.
Yeah, there was no coming back from an 8-0 lead in the first inning. That's crazy.
Hey,
that's insane.
But when you get six batters on base, and first six of them, in fact, it results in runs. But hey, the sixth inning was nice. They got a little bit something going on.
It was still spooky the whole time.
It was. It was
quiet. Real dark there.
Pike, Davis, Neighbors, they all got some RBI hits in there. We got 3 runs on the board. We didn't walk out with a complete shutout. That's the thing. There's something to be proud of. That matters. I think a lot of people were saying that Louisville wasn't going to make it this far. And as far as
I was one of them.
I'm proud of them. They got back there. It was their 6th time back at the College World Series. I mean, hey, it's good. It's good.
Like I said, I'm proud of them. Congratulations, Louisville, for making it this far, but so close, no scar. Baseball
season ends on that note, but I still look at it as a high note. Neighbors and Pike both had 2 hits, which was impressive for a game like that. All around, I don't think there was that many things wrong. I think next year, they'll do better.
Definitely. Just little tweaks here and there. We might be a championship team next year.
Hey, I'm all for it. I like it. I'm a UofL fan through and through. So
I am not, but it's okay.
Well,
I live in Louisville.
Hey, exactly. There's some other stuff that was in that game that we could talk about a little bit as well. And we had these strong performances. There was 3 games there with 10+ hits. I mean, that's pretty solid.
Putting bat the ball. I always love seeing bat the ball. It doesn't matter how it looks coming out the glove. Bat to ball. Get it done.
Well, the batting is what struggled. There was consistency, but there wasn't enough momentum for them to capitalize in that game, and that's one of the things that got them throughout the year too. So
with the final record of 42-24, I think they did okay. They did a nice job, strong postseason run. They just didn't make it, and it's okay. We move on to the next.
That's right. So that's what I've got on Louisville baseball. It was a great year.
Let's move on to the MLB with the Mets with a phenomenal performance. 7 home runs in 1 game.
Okay, so
7. I watched that game. Nemo, Soto, it was like automatic for them.
These were solo home runs. That's another thing. It'd been even better if they were grand slams. I'm just saying.
It would have, but then we're talking about a 32-point game. Yeah. Oh my gosh,
insanity! It tied the MLB record too. That's impressive. 1 more would have been enough.
I might at the beginning of this journey that we started called Numbers and Beyond. I started off by saying that the Mets are not living up to their potential. I think I'm going to shut up because last year they kind of did the exact same thing. It took them forever to warm up. They still made it to the postseason and they still gave it a nice little run. And also, I told you about my parlay. I have the Mets winning the World Series this year. So I'm hoping, future-wise, hey, I put it in back in February. So I didn't know. I saw Soto got traded. It's exactly what they needed. I'm going to be quiet on the Mets for a little bit just to see where they're going to fall at after the All-Star game, see how everybody comes back and recuperates. We're going to see how the Mets perform.
One of the things I think too. You talk about Soto. You've not really been big on Soto this year.
He was a Yankee last year, and the
Yeah.
Yankees faced my team and got dominated. So
Yeah.
I can't be big on Soto, but he's finally doing what he's supposed to do.
Yeah.
They didn't bring him over there just to make little connections or base hits. They brought him over there to go yard.
Yeah.
He hadn't done that. It took him forever to get his first home run.
I mean, he's been hitting them, but not like some of them. But I mean, this game he had 2 of them.
2 of them?
Crazy.
Like I said, 4 hits. I watched that game. Crazy. It was all electrifying. Every time they went up to bat, I was like, yes, their whole top of the lineup just went crazy. And then Francisco Alvarez hitting another one for the bottom of the lineup. And Jared Young, who would have thought?
And of course, you
Who would've
obviously
thought?
expect Nemo to hit him too. I mean, he hit 2 as well, so
Yeah.
it wasn't like
Nemo's been the only one hitting them.
Yeah, sometimes.
Really?
Alonso's been doing good, but I mean,
Okay, yeah.
yeah, can't forget him.
I always got love for Petey. Petey always gets love from me. I'm saying on a consistent basis, even Pete Alonso hasn't been hitting them as much as Nemo. Nemo's been a consistent player.
He's the guy that
He
know is
goes
going to do
yard.
it. Yeah,
He goes
I
yard
agree.
and he gets all the base hits. He doesn't. It's not just homers for him. Pete Alonso, it's usually a homer or nothing.
That's fair. I mean, yeah, I could see that. I think he
Yeah,
does
he gets
do,
doubles and all of
he
that.
does
but,
do a lot of other stuff, but yeah, his homers are what he really does, in my opinion. The
And
best.
Nemo, yeah, and Nemo's all around. Like, even his defense is crazy. So
Well, yeah, actually, the Mets defense in general is really good. They have a really solid lineup. I mean,
once again, I'm gonna
the
shut up
field
about
is
it.
great. Yeah,
Because
I mean,
they could just as easily take this year. And I felt that at the beginning of the year. They started disappointing me for the first few months, but they are coming back and doing nicely. So I'm going to leave them alone.
They've been holding in the top 5 fairly consistently. So I mean, even with this type of performance, this is more of what I would think of as an example of what they're capable of, right? More so than what is a reflection of where their standings are. Because at this point, they're another one of those teams. Just like you look at the Dodgers or the Yankees, you're starting to see where people expect that from them, and that's exactly what they do. And they're completely capable of having a stellar year, but also putting out games like this. And when you got a lineup, just like when we talked about with the Dodgers, right? They have guys left and right that can hit a home run, or they can hit and drive in runs like crazy, right? You load a base up against anyone from the Mets or the Dodgers, some of the Yankees, Cubs, etc. You start going through these teams. There's some that if you're worried about a grand slam.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the type of reality you see.
Anybody on the Dodgers team could have a grand slam at any moment.
Right.
Load up those bases if you want to.
I've watched a few games this year where pitchers are pitching, they'll walk a guy when the bases are loaded.
Yeah.
I mean, because some of these teams have that much. Like, it's not always the pitcher's trying to do it, but like sometimes you think in the back of your mind, like, man, like, are these guys trying to avoid giving up a grand slam right now?
Oh,
like,
they don't do that to the Dodgers anymore.
well, yeah.
Last year, it happened every single time. Every single time they walked Ohtani, here comes Mookie. Bing!
Yeah, well,
It was just automatic. You didn't even have to question it. You knew that the next batter up when those bases was loaded was going yard.
yeah, it's
Just because they walked Ohtani, like Mookie wasn't. Like, he wasn't there.
The disrespect.
The disrespect.
And then if you, for some reason, made the decision to walk Mookie or he did not hit a home run, well,
Here comes Freddie.
let's do it. What are you going to do? Walk him?
Walk Freddie if you want to. Ohtani scores. Now here comes Teoscar. Like, what are you going to do?
And the Mets are becoming slowly but surely, I think they're becoming similar. And adding Soto, I know where your stance was on it at the beginning of the year, and I somewhat agree with it, but I think adding Soto into the mix really just phenomenal decision right there. I think it started off rough.
I get it.
But
It's just because Soto's trying to find his footing, and I'm not a patient guy. So once you spend the first couple of months disappointing me, I gotta speak my opinion. So, like I said, I'm gonna keep my opinion to myself until after the All-Star games, and we're gonna see where the Mets are gonna fall coming into the postseason.
well, they're currently sitting at 46-31, tied with the Phillies for first in the National League East.
I hate the Phillies. I will never stop talking about the Phillies. They are like the low-budget version of every good team. Like, it's like
Interesting.
Dollar Tree Mets or the Dollar General Dodgers. I cannot do the Phillies. I don't know where their wins come from or how they get them, but it's ridiculous. Okay, I can't stand the Phillies, and they do not deserve to shift this year. All right,
I don't think they're gonna get it.
they can't. There's no way. But for some reason, every single time I look up, some team is dropping to the Phillies. They're not that great.
Yeah.
They don't have the hitters. They don't have the pitchers. All of their pitchers and hitters are overrated, except for maybe Kyle Schwarber. Trey Turner might go yard. When Trey Turner starts going yard, that means that you have a problem.
How
When
so?
Why is he one of your top home run hitters? He runs bases. He's a base hitter. That's what he does.
Yeah.
Why is he one of your top home run hitters right now? Let me know. Kyle Schwarber, of course he's going to go yard, but it's the only thing he can do.
I mean, and he does it well.
He does it well, but who cares? If you're not, if there's nobody on those bases, who cares? Really? Real Muto, not living up to his potential. Not even as a catcher. Like, he's not picking off anybody.
Okay, fair. I'll give you that.
Where is Bryce Harper? I want to know.
Yeah, well, I don't think anybody has that answer right now. Maybe they do. I don't know.
They probably do, but I need to know it because I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the Phillies. I can't.
My thing with the Phillies is like some of these other teams right now in the league that are they're getting wins, and it's just that they're quiet though. Like, you know, you'll see like the Phillies, they pop up, you see them on the storylines, things like that on the news, and it's like, what have they done, right? But they're still winning games. So even though they're not the teams that we talk about and you see constantly being talked about all the time, they're not like the Cubs right now, or the Diamondbacks, or the Padres, or the Giants, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? But they're still getting the wins. So they're kind of like that team that I think maybe some of it is they don't have as much pressure on them from the outside. So when you can just go play and you don't got this like status to almost like stand up to and live up to, you can just focus on playing. That's why you have guys like that are teams like that are able to do the job. You know, Kyle Schwarber's name isn't all over the place, but Ohtani's is. You know, for example, so
for good reason,
right? But
Ohtani's a legend. In the
exactly, making. But that's a pressure that he has to live up to, and if he falls short, he's gonna feel that, right? More so than maybe a guy like Kyle Schwarber, because even though he's a great batter, there's not as many people looking and going, "Oh, you got to do so great. You know, you got to do this to win." They can just focus on playing ball. They're one of those teams that can do that, and sometimes, in like any other sport, not having as much pressure wins. That's why you don't see a lot of repeat championships with teams for any sport, because it's hard to live up to the pressure of your past successes or from the media and from other folks, that the fans, all of this that's pushing in on you. Just turn off the noise and go.
Okay, so other than the Dodgers, who do you see going to the series this year? Of course the Dodgers have the potential to go, but who else?
I mean, obviously, I don't count out the Yankees, the Mets.
I count them out completely.
I know you do. I know you do. Fair enough.
I
won't debate that at all with you this one, because I know you don't count on it, and I'm not 100% that the Yankees would go, but they have a good chance. The Yankees and the Dodgers could be an easy repeat for sure. I believe it, but
the Yankees aren't doing what they did last year. They're out of the jar.
Giants are another team that I could see ending up there potentially, but they have kind of went into a slide.
Speaking of I was going to say, speaking of the Giants, they made this big trade with Rafael Devers.
Oh, man.
And I don't know where the future of the Giants is going right now. They just dropped a series to the Miami Marlins.
Marlins are...
Rafi might be a curse. He's the only one that hit home runs in those games, by the way. In that entire series, he's the only one to hit a home run. Rafi might be a curse to his team. Because right now, the Red Sox are snapping.
Yeah.
They just won their series to a better team, by the way. Rafi comes to the Giants, who haven't been dropping the easy games.
Yeah.
They just haven't. They dropped a couple of the difficult ones.
Yeah, I mean, that's understandable.
Understandable. They just dropped to the Marlins.
Well, I don't want to knock the Marlins entirely because they've had a good year.
They have,
But
not better than the Giants. I'm not trying to knock the Marlins. I'm saying that they should not have won that series against the Giants. We're talking about better pitchers. They beat Logan Webb, Landon Roop, and Jake Verlander. Those are their top 3 pitchers.
Yeah, I agree.
And throughout that whole series, they beat all of those pitchers out. That's crazy. Rafi might be a curse.
Yeah.
Because he's the only one that actually did something in those games, too. I'm just saying, man.
I don't disagree.
I actually liked the trade at first. I said, you know what? They might have something here.
So who do you think won that trade then? For real.
The Red Sox.
Of course.
Of course.
I mean, look what they got for him.
Man, Rafael Devers, I hope that you don't ruin my future for the Giants. Let's be clear. I'm hoping that everything gets back on track with this next series against the White Sox. If they drop against the White Sox, he's definitely a curse. There's no way around it.
Would you say that trade might have been a little bit more crazy than what we've even seen with the Mavericks and Luka?
No.
What they got in exchange for him is crazy.
No. There's nothing crazier than the Mavericks or Luka.
Really?
They literally traded away their championship run. They didn't just trade away their start. They traded away their chances at ever winning throughout that regular season.
Well, we're not in the NBA season anymore. Obviously, we have.
I'm just saying.
Shout out to the Thunder, by the way. They got the win, but
of course they did.
Yeah,
like I said,
we both said in the beginning we figured the Thunder were going to win.
The script was in, but apparently it came out on top. So I like it, but
predictable in the end of the day. But with that in mind, you talk about Luka just real quick. You said they traded away their championship. I don't know because Luka didn't end up in the championship. But moving back onto baseball.
Yeah, but he went to the Lakers that were,
should have been in the championship.
No, they shouldn't have been in the championship.
Their whole Austin Reeves situation is being a thing now too. I have a feeling the Lakers are kind of
with the Austin Reeves situation.
Yeah.
Ooh, you lose Austin Reeves, the Lakers might as well go ahead and call themselves the 2012 Lakers, or we going back to where there ain't no, not 2012. What was it? 2013, 2014, when they just didn't have anybody but Kobe. That was a tragedy. Tragedy Lakers.
I don't know. Kobe was never. No time was the Lakers ever a tragedy really when they had Kobe. But
there was a time. There was a time where Kobe had 2 knees that were just grinding up against each other. That was
he still played though.
Just bone on bone.
He still played though.
Yeah, he still played, and he was still a GOAT. But there was a time where the Lakers were. I didn't even want to be a Laker fan.
I mean,
that was the only team that I ever watched. Kobe's the one that made me start watching basketball.
I think Kobe's the reason a lot of people watch basketball.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you think about it, then there's same thing in any sport. There's always going to be that one person that
I hated sports when I was a kid. I did. I used to hate when my brother turned on ESPN. But one day, we shared a room, so one day he turned on ESPN while I was watching my cartoons, but Kobe was playing.
So who was the person that got you in for baseball?
Baseball, honestly, it was gambling. I didn't start finding anything entertaining about baseball until I started betting on all of these different apps. And then I was like, I should probably start watching some of these games so I can get better at it. And I forgot what game it was, but it was phenomenal. Yeah. Like there was no slowness to it, because that's the reason why I never watched baseball. Every time I've ever tried, games took like 3 hours. I'm not going to watch this.
A lot of that's the pitching, though. You're right. The pitching clock, it's so much faster now.
And I came back into baseball right when the pitching clock started. Mm-hmm. So I like it. It's fast paced. People going yards. You got the ball going out. That's what made me start watching baseball. I started gambling and I started looking at different sports. I started watching tennis because I started gambling, sir. Tennis is very electrifying. Don't let nobody tell you different.
I believe it. I've watched a little bit. I've seen it. I've seen them running around. I can't do it. I'll be the first to admit I couldn't do it.
I couldn't play tennis, but I love watching it.
I can play ping pong though.
Ping pong tournaments.
It's a sport. There's
be clear.
A whole thing for that. Yeah.
Gambling has opened my eyes to a lot of different sports.
Fair enough.
Ping pong is one of them. Crazy. Like you going. I love it.
I don't think it'll be a sport or anything we'd ever talk about, but hey, we are now.
Hey, we
It's
could
fun.
be.
It could be.
Let
could
somebody
happen.
get some star status over there in the ping pong world. I will definitely bring it up.
I'm just saying, hey, ping pong's fun.
It
But,
definitely is.
baseball, it's a good sport. It's picked up the pace, which I think has helped a lot because that was one of the chief issues, I think, for so long when people would watch it. Like, you could watch a game go 3 hours, like you said, with no problem. Because pitchers had all the time in the world to, do what they wanted to do. You'd have them out there standing there for a minute watching the batters, and the batters having to sweat it out, when is he going to do it type thing. But for me, it was Albert Pujols and the Cardinals. That's what I first saw for baseball. And you know what? I used to be a Cardinals fan because I didn't know a ton about baseball, and I didn't watch a lot of the games. But that's who it was for me. But again, shout out to the Mets for that game. Juan Soto, absolutely crazy. 27 home runs before 27 years old. That's not something that happens.
We're not saying that he's not a good hitter. We're not saying that he doesn't have the potential to do amazing things. We're just saying that he did not start off the Mets, journey well.
Yeah, and I mean his career stats are great right now. He's at 203 home runs, which is phenomenal. And there's some notable achievements. I mean, World Series championship 2019. That's pretty epic. Five times
Silver Slugger. Ooh.
And I mean, he's got multiple All-Star game selections. That shows that he's got the skill, and he's repeatedly showing off at the big time. The home run derby winner in 2022. I love the home run derby.
Though.
I love the home run derby.
I do too.
It's one of my favorite things because
it's definitely fun. I can't wait to watch it this year.
I don't know that it's always really necessarily the best way to say, okay, these guys that are hitting home runs in a year, I don't know if it's exactly the same as doing it in a game. It's a little bit different. I feel like when they're out there, because you don't see them hitting a home run every single time they're at bat in a game. But whenever you go and watch the home run derby and they're just doing it one right after another type thing, it's so fun.
It's beautiful, really. It's my favorite thing to do on MLB 25 too.
Oh yeah.
I might just go home and play that. Okay, but with that being said, Soto, the Mets. We should be able to cement some type of foothold in the postseason this year.
I think so.
The Mets. We should be able to make it through. And now he is being mentioned with some of the greats like Barry Bonds and Hank Aaron.
Those are names that you don't typically get. Babe Ruth even. I mean, the pace that he's on is there. Mike Trout's another one. He could definitely... You throw these names in there. Aaron Judge, these guys that we always talk about. Juan Soto is kind of like, you got these guys and you got kind of him right there hanging around, but his pace is going to get him up there if he keeps up. That's going to be the issue. Can he keep up?
Who is your favorite home run hitter? The one that you just know is going to go yard every time. You just have faith in him. For this year, it doesn't have to be any of the stars. I just need to know who it is. Mine's is Tommy Edman. I love to see Tommy Edman go up to bat, and he has the potential to do anything. Triple, double, single, yard. I love it.
There are a lot of guys that are good and that I think I put confidence in. Obviously, I like Ellie from the Reds, and he's up there. He's real close because when he gets up there, every time he does it, the potential is just there to just knock it out. And I mean, if you're talking about base running, he's great. He's fast. Yeah. He's smart. He does all those things.
So.
Yeah. His average is a little lower right now, I think, than I would like to see for him because he does. It's like when he's batting, he's one of those guys that's constantly just trying to just hit a home run. When you see a line drive from Ellie, it's like, whoa, it's impressive.
He hits
hard and it's fast.
Yeah,
but
he hits hard. It's just always going into a glove unless it goes over the wall. That's the problem.
So the potential is there, but if I wanted to look beyond him to another person, I think I kind of like Freddie Freeman.
Freddie is definitely a GOAT. Let's move on into our NFL futures while we still got a little bit of time left.
Yep.
I want to address the Bengals. Another future that I have for the Super Bowl next year.
Why would you think they're going to be in the Super Bowl?
Because last year, if it wasn't for a couple of little missteps here and there, they definitely would have went to the Super Bowl. That would have Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase. that combination is insanity. And plus, if they had a better running back, no question. They got better receivers.
What's their excuse for what happened last year?
They don't have an excuse. I'm not making excuses.
No, I'm just saying.
I'm not making excuses here. There were definitely missteps on the Bengals side. I'm saying that this year, if they can if they can do what they need to do, no question.
They're getting past the Bills?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
What?
Everybody else does.
No, they don't.
Everybody else does. Yes, they do.
There's only one team
Yes, they
that
do.
consistently every year gets past the Bills, and that's the Chiefs.
The Chiefs and the Ravens. The Ravens do them dirty every single time they play them. It's a back and forth that always ends up with Lamar on top.
And yet, neither one will go to the Super Bowl, right? I mean,
Neither one goes to the Super Bowl,
but
which means
the Bills
here
are a lot
comes
closer.
Joe Burrow.
But the Bills are a lot closer, and I think this
Here
is going
comes
to
Joe
be
Burrow.
this is going to be their year.
Let's be clear, Joe Burrow. This is his year. I can definitely see this being his year. Now,
No.
if I'm being honest, I want to see Tua there, but
The Dolphins don't. No.
I'm a Dolphins fan, and I'm gonna let it go.
All right.
I'm not going to stretch it out too long, but Tua, let's make this show.
Okay, so you're saying that you think the Bengals are going to be from the AFC in the Super Bowl, right?
Definitely.
Who do you think is going to go from the NFC?
Too close to call right now.
Too close to call.
I just want to keep it with the Bengals. I want to put all my faith in the Bengals going to the bowl. Let's get Jamar Chase just signed his deal. Joe Burrow is set. Last year, Jamar Chase showed out specifically because they needed to see exactly what they were paying for.
Yeah,
And now they
but they
paid
didn't
for
do
it.
it. I don't think the Bengals are going to make it. I think it's honestly going to be the Bills. I think they're going to finally make it happen this year. They've got the team to do it. And then I think from the NFC, man, there's a couple of good teams in there. But honestly, I have a feeling that Washington's going to be a team to watch for. I could see it being a Washington-Buffalo Super Bowl, and that would be a phenomenal game.
That rookie team was scary last year.
It was scary, and I think Jaden Daniels has the chance to go even further.
That rookie team was definitely scary. But that is all the time we have for today. We'd like to thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Numbers and Beyond. My name is Will. This has been. Thank you, Metro.
See y'all next time.